HCAM News is supported by our viewers and by Hopkinton Drug, located in this historic New England town since 1954. They are a multifaceted store dedicated to providing clients with an array of healthcare options.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of HCAM News. I'm HCAM News Director Tom Nappy. On today's edition of HCAM News, we have the latest Hopkinton Hillers sports highlights, scenes from the Hopkinton High School Halloween costume contest, and more. But first, the town of Hopkinton hosted a public informational meeting regarding PFAS. The town of Hopkinton hosted a PFAS public informational meeting. Here's a look.
I think you'll figure out, fabric treatments, like if you have something that you spray on your furniture that makes it water resistant, if you have a hiking jacket that is water resistant, things that are paper coatings on like takeout containers that you get from a salad bar that are waterproof, they don't leak through, or grease proof, ski wax, floor wax, all of these different things. Most notably, the firefighting foam that's known as aqueous film forming foam, AFFF, was used in a lot of fires, particularly around military bases, and that's been a large part of the PFAS contamination that's been found in public water supplies all across the country and here in the central region in Massachusetts. We have, unfortunately, the distinction of all the 4 regions of DEP having the most PFAS sites by far. The communities or public water systems that have PFAS contamination for a variety of reasons, some of which is the proximity to Devons up in the northern part of the region. So most Americans, because of all of these consumer-related products, have been exposed to PFAS through drinking water, but also through these consumer products. Next slide. So the exposures of concern for PFAS, this is why we're regulating PFAS. Some of this information you saw in the public education materials that John talked about that were sent out on October 1st, but I know people have a lot of questions about the public health aspects of this. So I wanted to go into a little more detailed information about the exposures to certain sensitive groups. And as it was noted in the public education materials, those groups are pregnant women, nursing mothers, infants, and immune compromised people who are drinking and cooking with contaminated water in a residential setting. This is why we regulate the PFAS chemicals that we regulate. We regulate 6 of the longer chain. They have more of those carbon bonds, and the science has shown that the longer chain PFAS are the more toxic. So these are some of the health effects that led Mass DEP to come up with both a drinking water standard and a groundwater cleanup standard.
You can see the entirety of the meeting on our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAMTV. Hopkinton High School hosted their annual Halloween costume contest for the seniors. Here's a look.
And then we'll announce the winners. Okay, so have some fun. Know what your class is currently going on.
Best overall small group. Blow up Zoo! Congrats, Pennywise. Cheer or something, don't make it awkward. Congrats, Blow up Zoo. Best overall large group is Clue Characters. R.I.P.
You all stand up together.
Scariest individual or group is Pennywise. I feel like I should turn this on. Most engaging individual or group, Mario Kart. Right, and at some point, gather for the photo. Right, and the final category for funniest is Blow Up Sue. So, congrats to all the winners. The full class is going to take a picture looking up at the HCAM.
We're going to take a quick time out on this edition of HCAM News. A whole lot more ahead. Stay tuned. HCAM programming is supported by our viewers, thank you, and by Phipps Insurance Agency, representing companies such as MapFree Insurance. Their family-owned independent agency is deeply rooted in the communities they serve and offer time-tested insurance products to fit individual needs. Since 1950, Phipps Insurance specializes in home, auto, business, condo, and renters insurance. Welcome back to HCAM News. The Hopkinton Hillers recently played the last week of their fall sports season. Here's a look at the latest highlights. In the final week of the regular season, Hiller girls soccer took on Ashland on Monday, October 25th. Hillers netted a goal in the first half.
And Marchetti sends it back to the keeper. And now it's taken by DuPont. Shot! And goal Hillers! Joanna DuPont with a steal. Puts it in.
In the second half, Hillers strike multiple times.
Up to Butler. Burt Whistle skates it through, looking for DuPont. Here goes DuPont towards the net. Shot! Goal! Hillers! DuPont on the goal, Burt Whistle on the assist, and the Hillers lead it 2-0. Nearly dropped. Imagine the ball is a bit slick with the weather we've had throughout all afternoon. Recupero. Nina takes a shot, and it's in! Nina Zaganaitis puts it in to make it a 3-0 Hillers lead. Burt Whistle sneaking through. Burt Whistle. Sends it over. Butler with a long shot, and it's in! Wow, long distance goes Ashley Butler.
Hopkinton takes the game over Ashland 4-0. Next stop is the playoffs. Also on Monday, October 25th, Hiller Girls Volleyball hosted Lincoln Sudbury. Steve Sweetapple and Matt Clancy on the call.
Sam, Catherine, back to Gilday.
Oh.
And that's it. Lincoln Sudbury takes the first set, 31-29. Oh, what a serve.
Unbelievable way to close out the set.
Hopkinton takes the second set, 25-15.
Wow.
That was an improvement, Matt.
That was just an amazing set. I mean, it was so great to see them come together as a group and play as a team.
Still set point for their match point for the Hillers. Meg with a bump. Catherine, Gilday, and that's it.
There you go.
Hopkinton takes the fourth set, 25-17 for a 3-1 win.
Hopkinton took the win 3-1 and improved to 19-0. On Wednesday, October 27th, Hiller Girls Volleyball finished out the regular season hosting Westwood. Steve Sweetapple and Matt Clancy on the call.
That's going to be a free ball. Excuse me. Sam gets it. Catherine, KP.
Got it.
Got it. That's out. So Hopkinton takes the first set, 25-22. Lou handles that. Going to McKim. Sam, armbar. Abby. KP puts it to the back line. Go outside to Lou. And she sails that long. And they wanted a tip, but they didn't get it. Hopkinton takes that second set, 25-15. Oh, it's going to go.
What a
yes.
What a
Mel doesn't even believe that, and that's it. Hopkinton takes the third set, 25-15 for a 3-0 sweep.
Wow, CBL champs.
Yeah, what a way to end it. Mel was in disbelief that went over.
Hopkinton takes the win via a 3-0 sweep and finishes a perfect 20-0 on the season. The Hillers racked up their 17th sweep of the season. Next stop is the postseason. Hillers field hockey wrapped up the season with a 3-1 win on the road versus Medfield. They pick up their second win to close out their season. On Friday, October 29th, Hiller boys soccer battled Westwood to wrap up the regular season. Hillers netted a goal in the first half.
Looking for Golombiewski, driving in. Off of Golombiewski, a live ball, shot, score, Hillers! Sean Golombiewski makes it 1-0 at 27:48 left to go in the first half.
Hopkinton nets two more in the second half.
Send in to Ito from Schnorr. Back to Schnorr. In front of the net. And it is put in. And that was Shaw, Ryan Shaw with the goal. Into Schnorr, lifts it. Far side, DeMcKelly. DeMcKelly matched up with Roberts. Works his way in, out in front. Schnorr, shot, goal! And the Hillers lead it 3-0. What a great setup by DeMcKelly as Schnorr pops it in.
Hillers take the win 3-1 and close out the regular season in style with a 13-4-1 record. The Hopkinton School Committee recently implemented a maskless trial for Hopkinton Public Schools. Here's a look at what happened.
The Hopkinton School Committee discussed masks at last week's meeting. To start off the meeting, they heard student survey results from the Hopkinton Student Council.
We sent out a survey to the entire student body at the high school in anticipation of this meeting. So we're going to share those results with you guys too. Overall, as you can see, most of the students were in favor of going mask optional. Approximately 68% of students, which was 506 students, voted in favor of the mask optional policy, and 28%, or 207 students, voted against it. Also notable, 27 students chose the other option, but most of those responses were in favor of the mask optional policy, but just wanted to clarify that only vaccinated individuals would be able to remove their masks. So we received a total of around 740 responses out of approximately 1,216 total students at the high school. So that's almost 2/3 of the students responding to the survey, which is probably like the biggest engagement we've gotten with a survey ever at the high school. So that was
congratulations.
Yeah,
Yes,
students are definitely, they have a lot of opinions on this and want their voices to be heard, which is great.
Later in the meeting, School Superintendent Dr. Carol Kavanaugh shared data amongst Hopkinton schools that was in coordination with Health Director Sean McAuliffe.
I will review with people the vaccination rates in the community just because I think it's so important to this conversation tonight. If you take a look at the 12 to 15 years of age and the 16 to 19 years of age, you'll see that both of those exceed the 95% marker. When our town public health official, Sean McAuliffe, was here, he indicated to us a couple of weeks ago that it's probably closer to 98%. And people may also wonder, why is that population number in some places actually smaller than the number of fully vaccinated people? How can that happen? And so just so you know, there are people who do not fill out the census. And so if you look at the census report data, in the ages of between 16 and 19, the census report tells us that 987 people that fit that age span live in Hopkinton. But in reality, we have 1,040 people vaccinated. So there are more people vaccinated because they have to report their vaccination. They don't necessarily report themselves on the census list. That's good news, actually.
The superintendent presented a possible solution for mask use in Hopkinton schools.
My belief is that we should establish a trial period. And I know that there are people who would say, let's do the trial period in January. And I think, well, we could be in the heart of flu season in January. We could be having a spike in cases because people traveled over the winter holidays. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not necessarily sure that I think that there's an ideal time. But I do like the time period, if we're thinking about doing it right now, between November 1st and November 19th. That gives us 3 weeks of sort of full lifting of the mask mandate to say, what happened? Did it work? Were there breakthrough cases? Was absenteeism increased? What data can we sort of mine from those 3 weeks? I would ask students to return to universal masking actually on Monday, November 22nd, which is the Monday before Thanksgiving. And I hesitated about that. I wondered, should we go with before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving? And part of me thinks that it's just kind of easier if in those 2 days we kind of come back. We say, let's get back to the masking so that it's sort of part of your just regular routines and behavior. I sometimes think that if you go on a great big vacation like that for 5 days over Thanksgiving, and then you come back, everybody's, sometimes you're almost school groggy, right? Because you haven't been there in so long that you have to reacclimate yourselves. But I think it's nice to say we're back in action before we have to do that on a Monday morning with everybody coming back in the building, and we're handing out masks and chasing people down who forgot them and all of that. And then the last thing that I would recommend is that I think it's important that the committee vote in language to reinstate mandated masking at any time in case there is a sharp rise in cases. And so I would work very carefully with Sean McAuliffe to take a look at that. If we take off masks and suddenly 2 weeks in, we realize that that number that used to say 2 now says 22, it might be time to say, this was a failed experiment and we put them back.
The school committee voted 3-2 in favor of a mask optional policy in schools. The policy will be on a trial basis from November 1st until November 19th. The 19-day trial period will be for gathering data such as breakthrough cases and tracking greater absenteeism because of COVID-19-like symptoms. You can read more about this at hcam.tv.
It's time to tell you about some upcoming happenings you should know about. On Saturday, November 20th, the Hopkinton Country Club presents the Roaring 20s Evening Gala. They will have all kinds of entertainment, and it'll be 20s themed. For more information, head over to hopkintoncccc.org. Sponsor a family Thanksgiving dinner. Project Just Because is hosting this for families in need. For more information, visit projectjustbecause.org/Thanksgiving. Our picture of the week, the Hopkinton High School senior class held their annual Halloween costume contest in the Athletic Center. You can see a whole lot of photos at our sceneinhopkinton.org. Upcoming town government meetings on HCAM include on Monday, November 8th at 7 p.m. We'll have the school committee meeting. Then on Tuesday, November 9th at 6 p.m., the select board meeting. For all upcoming town government meetings, head over to hopkintonma.gov. Believe it or not, we are out of time for this edition of HCAM News. For everyone here at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. Take care, be well, and we'll talk to you again soon.